What's going on, guys? Welcome to the channel. My name is Jonathan Irizarry if you're new. So what I want to do is just kind of discuss some things because I realized that the last couple videos that I put out weren't necessarily the nicest things to be able to talk about, more or less, especially if you're vegan. If you're not vegan, I'm sure it didn't affect you one bit. If you guys have seen them, started to reincorporate animal products back into my diet after 21 months. But along this journey, you know, I haven't always felt my best. And that's the one thing that I want to talk about, is because even like, here's the thing, is that whenever you involve yourself within a particular movement, and especially with this one, you know, you tend to ignore some of the things that you're going through physically because you believe in it so much. And that's kind of what was happening to me. Now, don't get me wrong. Internally, I would feel fine. But as far as like the output was concerned, I wasn't always 100% there. And what I mean by this is like, okay, when I first took on the whole food plant-based lifestyle, felt great. Made a video about it, actually. 10 things that, you know, I felt the benefits of going vegan. And those were absolute true. It's what I felt. So whenever Ann came over to visit me in Dallas, she started cooking me some more meals. We decided we're gonna go a little bit more of like the bodybuilding lifestyle, higher protein intake. And yeah, the inclusion of like seitan and these mock meats and stuff like completely fucked my digestion up. And I'm talking about bad, horrible. My stomach was turning, like I could literally feel the gas just moving through my intestines. It was the worst thing ever. But man, when that kind of stuff happens, who do you talk to about this? You know, it's like I couldn't make a video about this, you know, because I'd already been so invested into the vegan life that I just didn't know what to do. I contemplated eating eggs or something at that point because I just had no clue. I've never experienced something like that in my life. But I stuck with it. I looked into like Dr. Robert Morse and stuff, and looked into the grape diet. And I did 17 days of grapes. And prior to the grapes, man, I was losing crazy amounts of weight. Crazy amounts of weight. Like 12 pounds or so. So, and then I did the grapes. That actually helped fix my digestion. See, according to some of you guys, especially the hardcore vegans, they'll tell you, all those fruits, you know, that's so stupid. It does nothing for you but makes you worse. But no, it actually helped me. And whenever I did the fruits is when I would actually feel my best. And I would test my blood sugar and everything. My blood sugar was fine. Matter of fact, my blood sugar was perfect when I was eating the grapes. And then after that, I started reincorporating more cooked meals because I wanted to be normal. You know, I want to be a normal human being and eat regular food sometimes. And yeah, and it worked fine. I would do like Chipotle and, you know, cook my own meals, beans, lentils, but I would minimize the amount of protein. I still kept it about 120 grams a day maximum. And so like one of those meals would be like a smoothie. So I would really, you know, supplement my protein with the powders. If you follow me on Instagram, you would know this because I would post about my food all the time. And, but you know, I was eating tons of carbs, tons of calories, and it worked. I was getting my mass back. Strength was at an all-time high, felt great. But then I decided to go about doing another contest prep. And here's where the problems began to occur again. Because now that my body was being put into a deficit, I started to kind of lose myself again. I got injured, which I'm not going to blame the injury on the diet, but you know, even though I was still able to push myself quite well, like I just wasn't feeling the same in the gym. My body did not feel the same than when I switched over to this diet, this way of eating. So not only was I feeling weak, but I had terrible digestion where my body was just, I was dealing with diarrhea endlessly. So yeah, fast forward to being here in Thailand, and you know, I started running out of options for food because we can easily find like, you know, vegan restaurants out here, but they serve a lot of junk food. I'm not a junk food vegan. I like to eat 100%, you know, whole foods. Every now and then I'll eat some junk food. You know, I'm gonna be normal, okay? But for the most part, like 95% of the time, I eat very good, high quality, nutrient dense foods. Out here, I just didn't have the options. We have tofu everywhere, sure. So I was like, either I could sit here and just not give a fuck about myself and my own personal goals and how I'm feeling, or I can just remove the label, remove the mindset that I could not consider this type of food as food. And yeah, so I went ahead and just said, fuck it, I'm gonna try eating some fish and some eggs. I couldn't even go buy any food or anything for days. Honestly, it's like I struggled like incredibly. Like, you guys don't understand how much I struggle with this. But I gave in and just said, you know, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. You know, I don't have to think anything of it, but let's see what happens. Within a few days, my stool went from being splatting everywhere, water, diarrhea, to literally firm poop. And this is just being truthful here. For the first time in freaking months. I mean, it was so long that I forgot how long it'd been. And honestly, I fucking jumped for joy. I felt some crazy excitement because it was just like, wow, man, like, this is all I had to do. And on top of that, not only was that better, but I felt better, not only mentally, but physically. You know, it's something that you can't explain. So all these people want to sit here and say, like, what's the magical thing that's in meat or animal foods that, you know, that you can't get in the plant? Man, I can't explain it. Now, of course, there are readily available vitamins that have been already converted by the animal that you consume. So maybe that's the case. But maybe it's just the fact that some of us have to consume these sorts of foods in order to be our best selves, if we want our health to be optimal. Given the fact that there's so many different other ex-vegans, I'm just gonna put quote unquote ex-vegans, that have been dealing with these issues, and it made me really question things as a whole. Because another thing that I started to think about at this point now was like, you know, if we have to 100% supplement something, does it really truly make that diet optimal? If there's a supplement that's required, because right now it's only B12, but imagine further down the line, especially when you look at Garth Davis's video, he mentions B12. He starts mentioning all these other things, omega-3s and all this stuff. Like, it could be issues. You got to supplement this, you got to supplement that. Where does this list start to end? You know what I mean? And like I said, you know, if I feel the difference, you know, and I'm not trying to sit here and just make a bunch of shit up, but I 100% truly feel the difference. Even Anne, you know, she went vegan with me for a little while, and she started to feel like diminishing returns within her own self. And once she started to reincorporate eating eggs and fish into her diet again, she felt a huge difference, not only mentally, but physically as well. You know, and there's a list of people that have reached out to me that were vegan for quite some time. I'm talking about long-term vegans, 5 years, 10 years, 13 years, that recently started incorporating some fish and eggs back into their diet and noticed a dramatic difference within themselves. So it's like, we can either just chop this up and just ignore this and say that, you know, we're all this, you know, we can all eat this and it should all work out this way. Or we can really listen to these people, like myself as well, my friend Bobby. You got Tim Chief that just recently talked about his dilemma as well. And just understand that things are just not going to be black and white. You have to think about this. We as humans have been eating animal foods for thousands of years. There's going to be a point where, yes, we evolve or adapt to consuming this nutrition where we essentially need it at some point. Our body stops being able to convert certain nutrients from the basic nutrients. Let's say if we were originally herbivores to begin with, you know, that's just kind of my thought process on it. So I know, like I said, I know this is like not gonna really make some people happy, but you know, I wanna make sure that I'm talking about the truth and how I truly feel. And this is what I want to discuss on my channel. So I'm actually going to have some of these people that I've talked to that have reached out to me on my channel do some interviews with me, so they can discuss how they ran their nutrition. A lot of them ran perfect nutrition, are very meticulous with their food, and still suffered on it. All right, so we can't just sit here and say that everything is black and white. We truly cannot. And I can't fault anyone for going back to seeing whether or not they can fix things with their nutrition, going and eating an egg or fish or whatever it is they choose to eat and feeling better from it. But yeah, so anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. And until next time, everybody, peace.